Hello, my beautiful ladies. How's it going? I hope you're all having a beautiful day wherever you are. So today I wanted to take the time to answer a question just off the cuff from my heart that I got on Instagram, right? So you guys asked really great questions. And one of the questions that really stood out was, how do you start your spiritual journey? I want to start mine, but I don't know how, right? So many people are in that same place. You want to start a spiritual journey, but you're like, well, where do I even begin, right? And so while I'm drinking my ceremonial cacao, I'm definitely working with ceremonial cacao a lot more in my private life because I really intend to share this with you guys in a public forum and everything. I also wanted to be grounded, and ceremonial cacao, this beautiful plant medicine, really opens up my heart to share what I'm really feeling from my heart without my ego over here, trying to protect me and trying to say the politically correct thing. And so cacao really, puts my guard down and allows me to open my heart, which is what I want to do, right? With my community, that is what I intend on doing. And so I don't talk a lot about spiritual subjects as much in my channel anymore because I've really come to understand the bio-individuality of every human and how not one thing is going to fit for every single person, whether it be a diet, a fitness routine, a spiritual life, a religion, an education, so on and so forth, right? Everything is so bio-individual. And so I can only speak from my experience and also from yoga philosophy, right? Yogic philosophy, which is what I study. And as a meditation teacher, I've also had the privilege of learning about my soul through my own spiritual practice. So let's begin. How do you start your spiritual journey? Well, like I mentioned, there is not one definite answer or one path or one way of getting to that even beginning of a spiritual journey or an awakening. Now, I did not know that I was going through a spiritual awakening many years ago, almost 4 years ago, or even a little bit longer. But a spiritual journey, how I define that, is having a relationship with the awareness of who you truly are, right? Really having that moment of almost an out-of-body experience where you're not your mind, you're not your body, you're not your thoughts, you're not the role that you are playing as this character in this human world. A lot of us identify with our jobs, our titles, our accomplishments, our failures, the situations that happen to us as children. We identify so much with the external. And we almost never get a chance to even have a glimmer of who we truly are. And so through yoga and meditation, I've been able to practice that on my own, and with consistent practice, I've been able to have glimpses of this out-of-body experience of noticing the observer, the person who is, or not the person, but the soul that is watching everything play out. And I have to be honest, it can be pretty scary. So a meditation practice will give you that ability to be able to step outside of your body and see that what you're watching is your thoughts coming by, and you have the awareness that these are just thoughts, right? They don't mean anything besides the fact that your brain is just wired to think, but it doesn't mean that's who you are. But a lot of us attach ourselves so drastically to every single thought. If we have a thought in the morning of, I'm not good enough, then we live out our whole life acting like we're not good enough. We believe that we're not good enough simply because of a thought or a circumstance, a situation that happened that led you to believe and to have that thought that you are not good enough. So for me, a spiritual practice and beginning a spiritual practice is meditation. Because in meditation is where you start to become the awareness and the observer of what's actually happening outside of you, in your body and in your mind. I would begin a spiritual journey through sitting down and being quiet and observing what kind of thoughts and emotions are rising up within me. What am I thinking on a day-to-day basis? What am I feeling in this body? And with more consistent practice, you begin to shift away from that identity. Now, I teach mantra meditation, right? So mantra is a sound, and the sounds that I teach are not sounds that actually have a meaning. These are vibrations, right? These are cosmic sounds. And this sound, when you meditate upon this specific sound, or you can meditate on the breath, or on the word Om, or even the word Amen, or love, or peace. When you meditate, you're training your mind to come back and come back and come back to the mantra, because the mind is always going to want to go out here. We're driven by our senses of touch, see, feel, hear, right? All of this is just pulling us out of our body. So with meditation and the mantra, we're bringing it back. With a consistent practice, what happens is that you enter a space, what Deepak Chopra likes to call the gap. You enter a space of silence. And this space, what he calls the gap, is the space between every single thought that we are having. So if we have one thought here and the next thought is right here, and oftentimes they're very, very close, but there's always a sliver of silence, of infinite potential. Anything could happen in between those two thoughts. So the moment that we realize through our meditation practice of like, oh, if I'm not my thoughts, then what am I? Where am I? Where do I reside? If here's a thought, here's another one. Where do I reside? Where is the true self? Where is the real me? And that would be right here. And when you're in this state, you're not even aware that you're in this state. And as a matter of fact, your body slows down tremendously. The breathing slows down tremendously, almost to the point that you feel like you're not even breathing, right? You're not having any thoughts. And sometimes it's just a small little time that it happens. But the moment that you realize, oh, I was just in the gap, then you're no longer in there, because now you're thinking and you know that you're not in the gap. And luckily, we are humans and we have the awareness. A dog does not have that ability to ask itself questions, to be the observer. Like, we have that gift as a human to raise our own level of consciousness and to ask ourselves these questions and to be the observer.